Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're going to talk about Carson Wentz and just ask the question, what is going on? Guys, make sure to like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. It helps me out a lot. So Carson Wentz, to start the season, the Philadelphia Eagles are 0-2, and most people, especially those in the sports world, are blaming Carson Wentz. To start this season, they're 0-2, losing at Washington 27-17 and losing at home to the Rams 37-19. There has always been a lot of talk about Carson Wentz and how he likes to change the plays. He doesn't like listening to the coaching staff because he has this sort of attitude where he thinks he's right all of the time. Now, of course, we're not out on the field. We can't always see what's going on behind the scenes. We all know Carson Wentz had that MVP season a few years ago, but the biggest knock to him has always been that he's super injury prone. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he was on the sidelines while Nick Foles was out there leading them to victory. Now, I'll admit, Carson Wentz has looked pretty good when healthy, but to start this season, he looks pretty terrible. Now, yes, as some of you know, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but that's not really why I'm agreeing with many people saying Carson Wentz is the problem. When you watch the footage and you watch him actually play, you can see him making mistakes. He has some throws that are just so terrible. Now, as far as weapons go, he has Dallas Goedert, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Reagor, Zach Ertz is still there. He has some decent guys, Miles Sanders at running back, but it doesn't look like he really, truly is taking advantage of the talent. So far to start this season, he only has a 58% completion percentage for 512 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Against the Los Angeles Rams, he had 242 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He just kind of looks like he's all over the place as far as playing. Now, maybe you could say the organization is starting to put pressure on him. They drafted Jalen Hurts, who a lot of people think could turn into a starter one day, and maybe that's affecting Wentz as well. I mean, you have analysts out there on networks saying that Carson Wentz is sensitive and he can't handle the pressure in Philadelphia and he's just unraveling. Now, personally, I think it's a bit of an overreaction. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that he's sensitive and that he can't handle the pressure. I think Carson Wentz is a good quarterback, and if he can stay healthy, I think he's definitely a starting quarterback in this league, but he does need to get better. But Carson Wentz needs to be able to take coaching and be able to work with his coaching staff in order to have a more successful offense. Carson Wentz is coming off just his second full season as a starting quarterback. He's coming off a season where last year he passed for 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions, and winning, albeit a weak NFC East division. But so far to start this season, it's hard to put your finger on it really what's going on. But when you watch the actual game footage, you can see Wentz making so many mistakes. Again, people are blaming it on a number of things, but again, when you actually watch him, you just are starting to lose a little bit of confidence, I think. Again, as a Cowboys fan, I'm excited for the start he's having to the season, and I hope he plays like that when he plays against us. And again, we have to look at the games they lost. If you talk about it from a leadership perspective, the Eagles were up 17-0 in week 1 against the Washington football team. Carson Wentz started pretty great against Washington, throwing 2 touchdowns and giving them a 17-0 lead in the first half. But just 3 minutes into the second half, he threw an interception on the first play of one of their drives. This immediately led to a 20-yard touchdown drive for Washington, bringing the game to 17-14. The Eagles had a missed field goal, sure, but then you look at their next couple of drives, they punted 3 and out. They turned it over on downs on 5 plays, getting only 17 yards. And then Carson Wentz had a fumble down 27-17. And as we learned last week, sure, the Arizona Cardinals might be a great team, but Washington was not competitive at all in that game. So Washington doesn't even look like they're good, and that's the team that Philadelphia lost to in week 1. And then if we go into this past week against the Los Angeles Rams, Carson Wentz, 240 yards and 2 interceptions, like I said, but he just looked lost in this game. In the first half, it was actually pretty competitive. They were only down 21-16, and it looked like it was going to be a great game, but in the second half, they were outscored 16-3. Yes, at home, Carson Wentz could only muster 3 points against the Los Angeles Rams defense in the second half. In the second half, they were down at the Los Angeles Rams 21-yard line, down 21-16, and he threw a terrible interception. And then early in the fourth quarter, with about 11 minutes left in the game, they turned it over on downs on what was a decent drive. He just didn't look great, and his passer rating was just 56 in this game. And it's pretty amazing because Carson Wentz and Jared Goff went number 1 and number 2 in the same draft together, and obviously Jared Goff really outplayed him. Jared Goff was 20 out of 27, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. The Los Angeles Rams have beaten the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, and they look like they're going back to their old 2018 form. Wentz said after the game, quote, "Turnovers are killing us. I gotta protect the football." However, after the game, Wentz also said that everyone should relax. It's okay. Don't panic. And I'm just a little confused by that. Yes, you're the starting quarterback of a big franchise, so yes, you got to be confident, you got to be a leader, encourage the troops, but, you know, it's hard to argue the point that it looks like they're losing because of Carson Wentz. Again, for you Philadelphia Eagles fans, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm being a little harsh. Again, I'm just looking at it objectively as far as his performance is going so far this year and the information that we get from the inside. Again, I could be wrong, he could light it up the rest of the year, but in week 1, the Washington football team sacked Carson Wentz 8 times. Against the Los Angeles Rams, however, they didn't sack him. You know, Wentz has said it himself that he needs to stop with the turnovers, and I think he can, but again, I think if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you really need to try to focus on the receiving core for Carson Wentz. Something I would do in the offseason is really try to focus on that. Maybe trade for a good veteran, or maybe just look in the draft again, but it just doesn't look like he has enough help. I think at tight end, Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, they're pretty good there. Zach Ertz doesn't even know if he's going to get a contract extension, though. Again, everybody, take this with a grain of salt. We're just 2 games into the 2020 season, and Philadelphia is going to be at home against the Cincinnati Bengals this coming week. Now, Joe Burrow does look really, really good for a rookie, and the Bengals are starting to look like a dangerous team. However, when you look on paper, the Philadelphia Eagles should win this game. And if you're an Eagles fan, these next 4 games are crazy. After you play the Bengals, you have to go at San Francisco, at Pittsburgh, and home against Baltimore. That is an insanely tough schedule, and if Philadelphia loses against the Bengals on Sunday and they're 0-3, they could end their season before it even gets started. So again, Carson Wentz, I think he's a great quarterback. I think he needs to work on some things. If it's true that he's changing plays and going against the coaching staff and it's making players on his team upset, I think he needs to change that. If that's not the case and it's just his play, then he needs to make better decisions and get back to his old MVP form. And if it's a combination of both, well, he has a lot of work to do. Again, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I hope the Philadelphia Eagles keep losing, but I hope that he does get better and improves. You know, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I hope the Philadelphia Eagles keep losing. I want to win the division with the Cowboys this year. But I think for Carson Wentz, again, he has a lot of work to do, and we're all going to find out this season whether he can do it or not. Guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much, and hit that notification bell if you want instant notifications. Guys, as always, I'll see you in the next one.